We're going to talk a little bit about what I do for a living. So guys, I figured I would do a little video about what I do for a living. Welcome back to the channel. This is the Misplaced Motovlogger. My name is Frank. If you're new here, if you would, please hit the like button, consider subscribing, and all that fun stuff. Well, currently, I gotta preface this by saying Walton, PA just did a video about jobs that he's had over the years and his current job that he's doing. And I've been thinking about doing this one myself for a while. So I figured I'd come out here on this gorgeous October day and give it a shot. Here's what I do. I am a helicopter pilot. I've been working as a commercial helicopter pilot for 15 years now. What I do in the industry is known as ENG, which stands for Electronic News Gathering. Plain and simple, I fly a news chopper for local Philadelphia station. I know some of you guys follow me on Instagram, so you already know this if you look through any of my past posts on Instagram. I've been doing news since late 2007, so about 13 years now. But we'll go ahead and start with a little backstory. If you guys hang in there, this might be a little bit of a longer one. I came out of high school and I wanted to be, well, I thought I wanted to work on cars. Went down to Nashville, attended Nashville Auto Diesel College, which is now, I believe, Lincoln Tech. And I did that for about 13 years. Early on, I really enjoyed it. But after a few years, I really just didn't like going to work every day. Man, I am picking up some bugs. I really just didn't like going into work every day. And it wasn't because of the work, because I still like working on cars. I've got that old Mustang that I'll get back to restoring here eventually, maybe over the winter time. But I like doing that, working with my hands. What I didn't like were some of the customers. Now, we had a few at the places I worked that were really great, awesome people. But there were the others, people who basically just thought you were trying to scam them. And I know there are places that will try and sell you the world when you don't need it. So a lot of times you did have customers that just kind of looked down on you and thought you were the scum of the earth. You change somebody's oil and they'd come back the next day, say, well, ever since you changed my oil, my tire is leaking. Like, okay, I don't know what one has to do with the other, but the last thing I want to do is repair your tire for you. So why would I purposely flatten your tire? Things like that. And that just got so old. I was so tired of just dealing with that kind of crap. I wanted to do something that I enjoyed. Now, back in the fall of 2002, talking with my younger brother, and he worked over in Medford at the time, which is right near a couple of local airports. He saw him out there flying these small helicopters and decided to take an intro flight. $100, they take you up for a half hour, show you what each one of the controls does, and let you fly it for a little bit. So I thought that was the coolest thing, because at the time I was under the impression that really the only helicopter pilots out there were all former military guys. So I called up the flight school, made an appointment for either a Saturday or a Sunday, I don't remember exactly. We rode over to the airport, to the flight school, and we did that on our motorcycles. At the time I had the Yamaha YZF 600R. He had a Triumph, which, I don't know. Sean, if you're watching, tell me what model it was. So he had a Triumph. We rode our bikes over there. I met the flight instructor. He showed me around the helicopter a little bit. Told me what each one of the controls do. And then we went out there and fired it up. Went for a little flight. Needless to say, I was blown away, and I loved every second of it. After the flight, I got all sorts of information, you know, requirements, what do you have to do. And there was no way I was going to just go and get my private pilot certificate. I was going all the way if I was gonna do it. I wanted to try and try my hand at doing it for a living. So I gathered as much information as I could. What kind of requirements do I need? How do I do this? What kind of jobs are out there? How much is school gonna cost? And at the time, this is 2002, is when I took my first intro flight. And it was roughly 45 grand, and it's much more expensive these days. So of course, how do I pay for this? Can't exactly just go and get a mortgage for flight school. There's not a lot of places that offer any kind of student loans. So what I ended up doing was taking out a home equity loan on the house that my wife and I own. And that was that period of time where getting a loan like that was really pretty easy. In late January 2003, I started flight school. Not full time, I was still working my day job, working on cars, and I was only able to go take flight lessons 2 days a week, Sunday and Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever my day off was at the time. So that's how that began. Now, I started in January 2003. In March 2005, I had completed, well, actually in February 2005, all my ratings had been complete. Private, instrument, commercial, flight instructor, and flight instructor instrument. And I got lucky because the flight school where I took my lessons had an opening. So I was able to go full-time with them in March of 2005. And for anyone not familiar with aviation too much, flight instruction is pretty much your starting off job. So the people with the lowest hours are teaching the new people. I did that for about 1.5 years. In late 2006, I started working for a tour company up in New York City. They were actually based out of Linden at the time. Flying tours around Manhattan. We'd take people out to the Hamptons, down to Atlantic City, out to Mohegan Sun, wherever they wanted to go, pretty much. Well, I was working for that company doing the tours and the charters. My old boss at the flight school had a contact with the guys that flew the news, one of the news helicopters up in New York City. And I started doing fill-in work for them. Because the news never stops. So the aircraft always has to be covered. And if you want to take a day off, you have to have somebody cover your shift. So I did that for a good 6 months. And a spot opened up. Full time. It was a nice pay bump over doing tours. So I took that job and pretty much been doing news ever since. I had considered at one time moving on, doing like corporate charter, flying the larger helicopters, twin engines and stuff. But for the most part, I like what I do. Yeah, there are times when you get frustrated because it is a job, and that's mostly when you're heading to one place and then they tell you, no, turn around, I need you to go here. And that's one of the little frustrating parts of it. But that is what I do. For a while I was up in the New York area, flying up there and out of Linden, New Jersey. And about 8 years ago I was able to move down, transfer with the same company down to Philadelphia. Much easier commute than riding the turnpike all the way up. So if you guys have hung in this long, and now you know what I do, talk a little bit about some of the bigger stories that I've flown over. Anyone remembers the Miracle on the Hudson with Captain Sully landing on the Hudson River? I was flying over that about 15-20 minutes after it happened. That was probably the most famous story that I got to fly over. Now that one, oh man, nice gust of wind there. Flying news, it has a bit of downtime because you're not out there non-stop. You go out there when there's breaking news happening, you know, accident, fire, shooting. Otherwise, you're on the ground waiting. And we were sitting in the office. My cameraman comes in, says, yeah, we gotta go. I had a plane just crashed on the Hudson River. And my first thought is Cessna, something small, single engine, because it's happened before. Guys go up there, they lose an engine. Hudson River is the best possible place they can go. We're heading out there. Another one of the employees, is one of the maintenance guys, says, yeah, it was an Airbus A320. I'm like, dude, get out of here. No way. Like, yeah, big twin engine plane is landing on the Hudson. Like, you know, thought for sure he was yanking my chain. We get up in the air. We have to transit the airspace for Newark International. Call the tower. Immediately know that this is something big that happened. They're telling us that we need to stay about 6 miles away from the scene. NYPD had their helicopter out there. New York, New Jersey Port Authority had their helicopter out there. So we were down around the Statue of Liberty. But even at the time, the cameras on these helicopters are amazing. So there we are, hovering around the Statue of Liberty. 5 news helicopters. Looking at this Airbus floating down the river. Unbelievable sight. We're there for about, probably a good hour sitting there. And a pilot flying the Port Authority helicopter gets on with the control tower, Newark still, and it says everyone's accounted for and only minor injuries, everyone survived. Absolutely blown away by that news. It was so cool to be able to get that news that, hey, everybody survived. So that was probably my more famous story that I flew over. Yeah, I'll probably go ahead and have some more, because why not? But I'm not going to do it in this video. So guys, if you hung in there, that's what I do for a living, and it's what I hope to continue to do for a while. Thanks for watching if you guys hung in there, and we'll see you on the next one.